Welcome to the deep dive. It's really great to have you with us today, and a special welcome to all you fantastic expats and viewers tuning in from abroad. We know you love staying connected with what's happening back in the US, especially in culture and entertainment. Before we get started, just a quick ask if you could take a second to subscribe to the Merida Magic YouTube page. It honestly helps us so much in growing this community. Thanks for that. Okay, so today we're diving deep into something that's really buzzing right now. It's about Christian Combs, who you probably know as King Combs, and his brand new surprise album, Never Stop. Now, this isn't just about a new record dropping. What makes this really stand out is, well, first, it's executive produced by Kanye West. And second, you just can't separate it from the wider context of an ongoing legal situation involving Christian himself and his father, Sean Diddy Combs. Honestly, this whole situation has sparked so many conversations that go way beyond the serious accusations and the investigation itself. People are talking about, the nature of fame, the complexities of power, what legacy really means, and maybe most importantly, how family values hold up under this kind of intense public pressure. It's a lot to unpack.
It absolutely is. And that's what we're aiming to do today. We've sifted through, well, quite a few sources, articles, interviews, album reviews, some social media chatter too, to really pull out the key insights for you. Our goal here isn't to get caught up in the drama. It's more about guiding you through the information, helping you understand what's really significant, why it matters. We want to keep it thoughtful, balanced, conversational, basically cut through the noise so you feel genuinely informed about this whole unfolding narrative.
Great. So let's start with the album itself, Never Stop. It dropped today, June 27th, 2025. The timing feels deliberate, doesn't it? What do the sources say about the immediate context? Why release it now, and what's the purpose for King Combs?
Well, the timing is definitely critical. Releasing this album now, with Kanye West as executive producer, right in the middle of all this public and legal focus on the family, sources really suggest it's a clear move by Christian Combs. He seems determined to, step out from any shadows and really take control of his own story here. It reads as a statement of resilience, definitely, and maybe above all, loyalty. A kind of raw, artistic pushback against the storms surrounding his family. One source put it pretty directly, saying he's making noise in the studio while his father navigates legal battles. So, yeah, maybe a strategy to shift focus, or at least carve out his own space.
Making noise. That's a good way to put it. So more than music, it's like a declaration. And speaking of declarations, the album's apparently packed with sharp lyrics, raw emotion, a lot of defiance. Can you highlight some specific tracks or lines that really capture that mindset? What's jumping out from the sources?
Oh, absolutely. The one everyone's pointing to immediately is Diddy Free. And he really doesn't mince words on this one. It's got some of his most direct, most impassioned lyrics yet. He's clearly pushing back hard against critics, and maybe people he feels betrayed the family. Like the lines, F the world, critics, and the witness, face clean, they trying to dirt the image, sittings down that stood on business. It's not just, general hip-hop talk. It feels very specific, a direct response to everything that's happening.
Very, very pointed.
Yeah, and then there's, tired of ends speaking on the family. Nens claim they brothers, but they can't be. You can really feel the, sting of betrayal in those lines, the weight of loyalty being tested. Multiple reviews highlighted that. It's him planting his flag, defending the family. Some see it as bold, necessary. Others are asking, does it just draw more attention to the issues? It's debatable.
Okay, wow. And the Kanye West collaboration is big news itself, but then Northwest is on the track. Lonely Roads, that's definitely a choice. What does her feature add? And what's the vibe of that particular song?
Yeah, her feature's a major talking point. Lonely Roads itself, the production is kind of haunting. The tone is very introspective, almost melancholic. It seems to tackle that weight of legacy, the pressure cooker of fame, personal struggles. It feels heavy. It explores that isolation you can feel in public life. Northwest verse, it's short, but it adds this kind of sly, unacceptably mature perspective. Lines like, surrounded by fake friends I don't even like. When you see me shining, then you see the light. It touches on authenticity, perception, themes her dad often explores too.
Interesting connection.
Yeah, and her presence can be seen a few ways, right? Showcasing talent, sure, but also maybe a symbolic gesture. Like unity between these big music families, especially given Kanye's very public support for the Combs family.
Okay.
It adds another complex layer of the whole thing.
Definitely complex.
And it's not just those tracks. The EP does offer, a range of sounds. Repeat Me has that experimental Kanye production, Jersey club beats under a soulful sample. It's kind of danceable, but still emotional. Then Soul's outro. A lot of critics like this one. really soulful sample, builds up, and King Combs delivers some pretty bold lines, kind of summing up that defiant message. It tries to be both emotionally resonant and sonically interesting.
So the whole project feels like King Combs is really stepping up as like the defender of the family name, the legacy. But what does that mean for the Combs family's public values, especially when you contrast it with all the news, the serious accusations swirling around? It feels like a real point of tension.
It absolutely is.
After
I mean, Sean Diddy Combs, for decades, he's represented this huge force in hip-hop, in business, built an empire, the whole bad boy legacy. That legacy is tied up with ideas of hustle, ambition, success, often this almost untouchable image of power.
Right. That's the image.
Exactly. And King Combs has said himself, bad boy is his life. He wants to take it to the next level, make his own mark. So you have this incredibly strong public brand, powerful, ambitious, maybe seemed invincible. This album, then, it reinforces his commitment to upholding that legacy. Even while it's facing these huge questions, it puts the music right into that conversation, trying to defend or maybe reshape that public identity that's under so much pressure.
And King Combs, he's talked before about mixing East and West Coast sounds, showing his range. Plus, we know he uses music for personal stuff, too, right? Like his album Sincerely C3, dedicated to his mom, Kim Porter, after she passed. How do those really personal elements, like there's a track called Kim on this new EP, how does that fit into this very public, very defiant narrative?
That's a really sharp observation.
Yeah.
Because, amidst all the defiance, the public defense, you have this track, Kim, and sources say it's just a deeply heartfelt tribute to his late mother. It shows this real vulnerability, this emotional depth, which is quite a contrast to tracks like Diddy Free.
Yeah, quite a contrast.
He apparently talks openly about the pain of losing her, even saying he'd give everything up to have her back. And that connects right back to what he said before about music being like therapy for him, processing grief. It reminds you there's a human being dealing with immense personal loss, even in the middle of this public storm. And it actually brings up a really interesting question, maybe for you listening. How do family values really operate when the cameras are off? Especially for families living under this kind of intense spotlight.
That's a great question.
Yeah, we genuinely love to hear what you think. Feel free to drop a comment with your thoughts on that one.
Please do.
And you also see those other family values, perseverance, ambition woven in. On People Like Me, there's that hustling dad lyric. It's a direct nod to the work ethic he's talked about inheriting. He described his dad's drive before as, it never stops.
I remember reading that.
Seeing his dad wake up, work all day, sleep, repeat. It wasn't about fun. It was just relentless drive building the business. That's clearly a core value he embraces and wants to continue, that perpetual motion idea.
Right. The hustle. So looking at this whole picture, the challenge legacy, the album dropping right now, the ongoing legal situation, serious questions being asked, it really makes you wonder, can you ever truly separate the artist from the brand or the parent from the performer, especially today with everything so public?
It's incredibly difficult, maybe impossible, in situations this high profile. Think about Kanye West's role here. His support for Sean Diddy Combs has been very public, very controversial at times. Sources mention him appearing at the courthouse, for instance.
Right.
And Kanye, he's previously shared some strong opinions about the accusations online.
Right.
Things like wishing Kid Cuties hadn't testified against Puff, calling for Diddy's freedom, suggesting extortion was involved in some claims. He's even offered, let's say, controversial takes on certain incidents. Now, it's crucial we stress these are Kanye's stated views, according to the sources we looked at. Okay, important distinction.
Very important. It just shows the complex, sometimes conflicting viewpoints swirling around these figures and their relationships. And his very public stance definitely blurs those lines between artist, supporter, brand, making it hard to see King Combs' actions in isolation.
So connecting that dot then, how does Kanye's very vocal support and maybe his past comments, how might that affect how the public sees King Combs trying to defend the family name with this music? Does it help him? Hurt him?
It definitely makes the reception tricky. While some sources might praise the production or see King Combs' defiance as admirable loyalty, others are more critical. We saw one review, for example, that suggested King Combs struggles with consistency on the album, that maybe he doesn't rise to the occasion lyrically, even if the beats are good. That review questioned if the words really match the gravity of the situation. And then looking at, social media discussions, public reactions seem mixed too. Some questioned the album's quality, sure, but more significantly, people debated the optics of certain lyrics right now. Optics, yeah. That makes sense.
Like, does the defiance, even if understandable from his perspective, come across as maybe tone deaf, given the seriousness of the accusations? That's a question being asked. And then there's the Kanye factor. Does his association with his own history of controversies add an unwanted distraction? Does it complicate the message King Combs is trying to send?
Right. It all gets tangled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really highlights how hard it is to separate the art from the artist, from the circumstances, from the powerful, sometimes polarizing figures they associate with. The narrative around the music just gets completely tied up with everything else.
Wow. Okay, and just pausing here midway through our deep dive, a quick hello again to all of you listening from abroad. We know you want to stay plugged into the headlines from home, but maybe without all the noise and drama. That's what we try to do here. Thoughtful conversation, deeper insights into what's really going on. So wrapping this up then, what's the big takeaway here? This look at King Combs's Never Stop EP. It just hammers home how tightly fame, family, legacy, public image are all woven together, doesn't it? Especially when you're dealing with serious legal issues and the weight of such a massive legacy.
It really does. The album itself, you can see it as this powerful example of a son's loyalty, his defiance through art. But beyond that, it sparks these crucial conversations, doesn't it? About resilience, about how public image is managed or maybe can't be managed sometimes. And those enduring questions about how we view celebrity families, the stories they tell us, especially when outside events challenge those stories.
Absolutely. And as you think about everything we've discussed, here's maybe a final provocative thought to leave you with. In today's digital world with information and opinions flying everywhere, constantly scrutinized, what does it actually mean to defend a legacy? How do you even control a narrative when the whole world is watching and commenting? Something to chew on. All right, if you found this deep dive insightful today, or if you just appreciate a good discussion about culture, identity, and what's really unfolding behind the headlines, please do us a favor, like this video, maybe share it with a friend who'd be interested, and help our Merida Magic channel get to that 500 subscriber goal. Every single click really does help keep this community growing. Thanks so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate your time, and I'll catch you in the next one.